bit of a confession to make. This is opening morning of the general firearm season. I'm just now getting out to quickly do a little hunting. It's almost 8:15. When I got time to get up this morning so we could get out here, but daylight. I woke up, I thought about it. I just didn't feel like it. A couple more hours sleep sounded better to me, so I went back to sleep for about 3 more hours. Just didn't feel like it. So, it's a slow start to the general firearm season, but here we go. Me out of breath. Okay. Well, one good thing about it, there's not many ladybugs laying around the floor this morning. That's a plus. A big plus, as a matter of fact. Oh well. General firearm season is the time that you want to think about having a really good long range setup. And it don't get much better than this right here. That's a Ruger #1 7mm Remington mag, loaded with 160 grain Nosler AccuBonds. Added one flat shooting, hard hitting, long range piece of plunder. So any buck that shows up anywhere on this farm is in range. So that's the beauty of this 2-week general firearm season. You don't have to get him close to the quickly. All you gotta do is get him on the farm. When they get out roaming looking for does, if you're in the right place at the right time, you catch one of them bad boys crossing the farm, he's headed to the freezer. So this is the first day of a 2-week season. But I gotta do better at getting out here than I did today. Who knows? Phil might have been full of big boys this morning. I was sleeping. Okay. I admit it too. Stove hooked up. Might be needing some heat. Get this gentleman hooked up. That tight. That's tight. There it goes. We're in business. You know, another good thing about weather turning cool, other than maybe getting the deer up and on the move, is it certainly cut down on the number of ladybugs that I gotta sweep up every time I come out here. I mean, boy, they're way down. Thank the Lord. But don't get me wrong, I mean, any of you decide that you'd like to make yourself up a pot of ladybug stew, you just go ahead and put your potatoes, carrots, and onions, and all that sort of thing on the stove. I'll bring you a quart of ladybugs to put in there. And you can have some genuine ladybug stew. I got plenty, so don't worry. Now, during the general firearm season, I got a long-range gun that I'm going to make use of. I like to remove the swivels, get rid of the sling, get rid of the sling. Like that out of the way somewhere. Because when you go to put it on the bench, rest, you don't want that sling interfering with your rest here. And then depending upon which field your old buck might show up in, is which one of these elevations of rest here that you might want to use. Further up the hill, the higher you want to get that rest. Okay? Now, when they get way up there, and the whole way to the very top, I'll turn it up this way. I'll turn it up on the side, up all the way up on the top. Put my rifle up here. And that's just about perfect. Shooting all the way to the top. That's about, actually to that corner up there at 337 yards. That's just about a dead on hole for this Ruger. It's number one. That is a really good long range proposition right there. It works good. Now all it needs the buck. It's a pitiful thing to have to confess to, but it's 9 o'clock on opening day of general firearm season, and I've just now settled into quickly. Like I said, I didn't feel good. I didn't feel like getting up this morning. So I didn't. And then, of course, when you get out here, you got to sweep up all the ladybugs. You got to gather them up, put them in containers. One thing, if you just throw them out, they come back alive, and they'll be the same one for you back in here tomorrow, I reckon. Anyway, I put them in a container. Save them up till I got enough to make good stew. And then we get revenge on by having ladybug stew. Any of you interested in it, just let me know and I'll send you the recipe. Oh, goodness. Anyway, I'm getting a late start. Only got 2 weeks of general rifle, and that is the time to try to get a deer from the Quigley here, because with archery or muzzleloader, I mean, you got to get them in range. You got to get them in close. They got to kind of be in here in your lap. But with a good long-range rifle, like what I got out here this morning, this Ruger No. 1 7mm Remington mag, if you look out and you catch an old buck trying to hot-foot it across one of these fields, or out here harassing a doe or something, I don't care where he is on this farm. From the position of the Quigley right here, I can probably, if you hold still for just a second, I'll get a good shot at him. I've got, probably 700 yards of open country here, and I've got the Quigley pretty much situated in the middle of it, and the way it just worked out, I mean, you're in the middle that you can cover most of the farm, and the way the ground's laid and the way the tree lines are, and that's, it just funnels the deer following a tree line. There's two of them, one coming in from the north and the other one coming in from the west, and they meet right here at the Quigley. And then you got solid woods over on the other side, so it's just a narrow area that they can cross, that to be out in the open. If they're desired to stay stay hidden, they can just follow the tree line right here, just a short distance across. I don't know, 75 yards one way and maybe a little over 100 yards the other. They can be back in the woods again if they want to, just follow the trees and follow bottlenecks and things like that. Well, they come right by the Quigley. But if they're just out crossing, and the fields are long, kind of long and drawn out, pretty much long and narrow, more or less, and if they want to cross one of them, all I got to do is see him in time before he gets across that field. And sometimes they'll just be hot-footing across it, and you can't get a shot at them. But most of the time, they'll give you the opportunity, but you got to be ready. I mean, you got to be on your toes, and you got to be ready. Like I say, most of these bucks that come through here, they're just crossers. They're travelers. They don't live here. They're just traveling through. So I got to be on my toes. I got to be watching. Have your rifle ready. Roll the bench up to that window, and for heaven's sake, try to remember to put your earplugs on. I've done that. I forgot that before. That's not any fun. So I got them laying right here. They handy, hanging right on the bench, so I can get to them. But I have been known to get a little on the excited order and forget to install them things on my ears. I paid the price for that. But anyway, I got me some coffee and a couple of snacks, so we'll sit down here and watch the fields for another hour or so, then the solar period will be over. And I got a couple of things I need to do, so I need to take a couple-hour break from Quigley. I'll be back this afternoon, but right now it's snack time. Well, like I said, it's late breakfast time. Right now it's just going to be more of a snack kind of a breakfast, but have me a little bit of coffee and a honey bun. Now, I've been a honey bun nut pretty much all my life. Took that from my daddy. That's me and my dad, we put away a lot of honey buns. But a curious thing has happened over the last year or two. These things, for some reason or other, are shrinking. I reckon the hens that lay them are not getting fed good enough or something. Now, whatever it is, they're just getting smaller and smaller. But the price keeps going that way. The price goes up and they get smaller. I just wonder if anybody else has noticed that. But they are good. They're good cold like this. But you want to do yourself a little bit of a favor. Get you a couple of honey buns. Them old sauce or something. Put you a big dollop of butter on top of them. Put them in the microwave till that butter melts. Oh my goodness. That's good eating. Try that sometime. Well, sitting here thinking, still pondering on the honey bun situation. And I've decided, there you go, the bug has got my head and throat a little bit there. Next time I go to Kroger, I'm going to look up the manager, and I'm going to ask him if he's noticed the phenomenon that's happened to the honey buns. Right now, go back about 3 years, something like that. Honey buns right now today are about 1/3 the size they were just 2 or 3 years ago. But the price is 3 times what it was 2 or 3 years ago. So, if they're 1/3 the size, cost 3 times as much. If I'm doing my math right, which it's a possibility that I ain't, but anyway, if I'm doing my math right, for what I'm paying for one honey bun today, I could have got 6 times as much honey bun a few years ago. Because if they're 1/3 the size and cost 3 times as much, that means a 1-to-6 ratio or something like that to me. But I know that I sure can't eat the same amount of honey buns on the same number of dollars these days, that's for sure. So I've come up with a heck of a recipe that I need to post that. It's a fabulous recipe that it's called a dessert that very, very versatile. You can make it just slightly sweet, real sweet, hundreds of different ways, I guess. I've got, well, about hundreds, but you can make a lot of variations, which I have made. Very good, quick, simple, and relatively cheap. So I'll get around to making that and putting it up. It'll be called cornbread cake. So if you're interested in cornbread cake, you might want to look that one up. It's good. It's good. A friend of mine said he has a sweet tooth. I've got friends that don't care much about sweets, and this one guy, Kevin, I mean, he likes sweets. He said, I got a sweet tooth. And I said, well, I have to make a confession. I don't have a sweet tooth. Every tooth I have is sweet tooth. I don't have a sweet tooth. All of mine are sweet tooth. Got that from my mom. She liked sweets. I do too. So I'm just going to see what that manager has to say, if he's aware of what's happened to the honey buns. Maybe he is, maybe he's not. This morning, been a big fat 0. As far as seeing anything, no turkeys, no deer, no nothing. But like I said, I didn't get out here at 9 o'clock, so solar period's over. I'm going to head back to the house. Got to do a few things, make a run to the trash dump. A few things need to be done around the house and farm. So I'll be back this afternoon. But in the meantime, I'll take this with me. This will be my constant companion for the next 2 weeks. At the house, it won't be like I leave the muzzleloader out here in the Quigley. No, this will stay with me. It'll be sitting by the front door. Always at the ready. Somebody had buzzed me here. My brother. I know what he's talking about. Yeah, he's talking about apple pies. I do make fried pies. Man, I will say this, I make some awesome fried pies. I've never bought a fried pie that tastes anything like that. Everybody likes them, but man, they're a lot of work. This winter I might get around to making a few more, but yeah, a lot of work involved in those. Yeah, I took a quick look all the way around the fields and all of them. I don't see anything, so I'm going to head back to the house for a while. Back out here in the Quigley for the afternoon opening day. Get this sling off this rifle. Get all set up for some possible long-range shot here. It turned off to be a little cooler today than it has been, so maybe that'll get the bucks up and moving. I don't know. Boy, they surely haven't not. The deer have not been moving, or even the turkeys. I mean, it's like somebody's they all want a free trip to Florida or something. They vacated the place. Anyway, I think with a little patience, we're going to get one here. We're sure going to give it a try. Well, virtually, well, not virtually my foot, that is. 2 deer just came out high up on the hill. It's the same 2 does I've seen just about every day during the muzzleloader season. Can't mistake them. One of them's dark, very dark, and the other one got lots and lots of white on it. White legs, white belly, white tail, I mean, a lot of white. The other one don't hardly have any white that you can see on it. It's the same 2 does. You'd think one of them would pick up a nice big handsome boyfriend and bring him over here with her one of these days. I've been, I don't know, 30, 40 minutes ago. 2 regular does come out upon the high field, where they come out where they normally do. They fed around like they normally do. And I got laxed. I wasn't really paying much attention to them. Looked up and they were gone. So I don't know if something spooked them or a buck come along and they left, run them off. I don't know. I just got not paying good enough attention, they left. But if they left on their own, they just fed up, then they would have probably, 9 out of 10 times, they'll come over, they'll get in this patch of woods, and they'll come through that woods and come out into another. One of my pastors, I got 5 pastors, they leave one, come through the woods, and they'll come out in this other one. Right up here. Pretty soon, if something didn't run them off, something didn't spook them. Sometimes something like that happens and it gets you a shot at a coyote. And sometimes you get a shot at a buck. And other times they just left and they entered off on their own. You just wasn't paying close enough attention. We'll wait a few minutes and see if they show up in this field up here, and then we'll know. Well, they left the higher field on their own, I reckon, because as usual, if they fed off on their own, just going about their business, they're not disturbed, they'll show up in this other pasture, and then just a few minutes after leaving the one, and they're both right up there. They've left one pasture, crossed over the neck of another, and then you call that the third pasture. If this was, anyway, they left one, crossed over another, and into the third. And they're just quietly feeding along. Nothing disturbing them, so, and it's getting late. Come on, buck. About time to show up.